Okay. I heard all about the case from Justine Darling here. This is not final cross-examination music. Had I committed the murder, it would have taken place inside the holding cell. But I couldn't have moved the body. I never went into the prison. I was caught up in my work, and up until the show, I was stuck in my offices. Check up on it if you like. You'll find there's no record of me entering the prison. I don't know what reasoning you had, but I can say for sure. I cannot be the killer. The missile barked at you, pal. You've got to be the culprit. Oh heavens, it's not possible. I already told you, I never went to the prison. If you think I'm lying, why don't you check the records? Wants us to check the records? She does seem confident. For now, all we can do is listen to her and try to draw out more information. I do hope you understand, Mr. Edgeworth. Those birds in the background are really weirding me out. They just sit there, motionless. Forever. Okay. From Judge Courtney, are you too close? As close as fish in water. Are you jealous? Jealous? On the first day of investigation, she filled us in on the situation. In exchange for our cooperation, she explained the details of the case to us. How could you say that? You're so mean, Justine, darling. Truth is the truth. I believe it should be told as such. For some reason, those two seem kind of scary. Huh? Not really, Edgeworth. The murder occurred inside the cell? How can you be so certain about that? Well, everywhere else would be under surveillance, right? And the victim's blood was found there too. That blood was actually from when he was struck by Elbird, but I don't think it's necessary to inform her of this fact. That doesn't mean it's proven. You do know that. But I see no contradictions in assuming the crime scene was at the detention center. Couldn't have moved the body. Never went into the prison. You never went into the prison? Do you have proof of this? My, can't you wait for me to finish? Stuck in my office. Someone said she was at the show, though. You were in your office the whole time? Nothing strange happened? Nope, nothing at all. Are you looking for something? I'm not too good at tidying up. I always forget where I put everything. The other day I even lost track of an important piece of evidence. How could you have made such a grave error? If someone were to take something from me, I wouldn't even notice it the entire year. I guess it'll be hard to attack with the key to the breaker room. On the day of the incident, I was working in my office and searching for lost items. In other words, I couldn't have gone to the prison, even if I had wanted to. You did not enter the prison from the entrance. But what if there was another route? Oh my, are you suggesting something like a secret passage? I don't know if anything like that exists. It's my firm belief you did possess an alternate route. That route was neither the entrance nor a secret passage. The route you used was from here, the garden. Get it kind of close to the door just in case, I guess. The barbed wire fence. You would have moved nightly to your office first. This office leads directly to the garden side of the courtyard. If you had moved through here and passed the barbed wire fence, you would have arrived at the prison without passing through the entrance or a tunnel. You would have had to turn off the electric fence first, though. I wonder what Mr. Edgeworth is saying. Haven't you noticed? There's a high voltage current running through the fence. Yeah, obviously she couldn't have passed through it like that. Current to the fence could be switched off at the breaker room. And you were the only one who had the key, Warden Roland. Doesn't make sense, Edgeworth. Most amusing. However, the breaker room is located on the prison side of the courtyard. How would the Warden have accessed it from the detention center? Ah, quite right. Got you there, Mr. Edgeworth. That's... If there's no record of her passing through the prison entrance, it would not have been possible for her to turn off the fence's breaker. But Warden Roland was the only one who had access. Don't let this faze you, Miles. But if I don't have a solution for this, she'll get away. Now, Uncle Ray never said don't think, you know. It's just not good to be so stubborn about it, that's all. But no matter how you think about it, Warden Roland couldn't have done this alone. Prosecutor Edgeworth, if you have failed to come up with a new I am not amused, interrupting my judgment only to be silent. Without thinking, I just blurted out objection. I have to answer. I won't let this end here. My reasoning is not over yet. So how did she use the breaker without leaving the detention center? It's perfectly possible. With this method. What made it possible to turn off the breaker? Oh. Accomplice, I guess? Frank Sawit, perhaps? It was indeed impossible for one person. But what if there were two? Exactly. Just what I expected from you, Miles. Yes, you had an accomplice on the prison side. Enough. I am disappointed in you, Prosecutor Edgeworth. What's that, pal? You're making fun of Mr. Edgeworth? The inmates at this prison all wear bracelets. If they try and go where they please, they will set off the alarm. Ah! So you've noticed. This is a prison, after all. Not only the prisoners, but the guards, too, are under constant scrutiny. So why didn't anyone notice Elbird? The only ones allowed to move around freely are the animals. And they certainly could not have used the breaker. But it's still possible that a person did. Excluding the inmates and the guards, just what kind of person would you say it was? You can't exclude the inmates and guards just yet. There's only one person, one whose movement was not restricted. This evidence shows that there was someone in the prison who could move around freely. Sawit's bracelet. That is, looks like the bracelet worn by the prisoners. This belongs to a certain model inmate, and it's broken. What? Just who on earth does this belong to? Frank Sawit, the Warden's favorite inmate. Uh-oh. Getting to her now. Don't you think it's strange? He managed to keep this hidden while he moved around freely in his daily prison life. Golly, when you think about it, it shouldn't be possible. I'd hazard a guess that this was because he was a special case. Just like Sirhan Dogan in the special cell. The prosecutor's statement is mere conjecture. You'd find out by simply asking Sawit himself. It is my firm belief that Mr. Sawit and Warden Roland were partners in crime. Due to their collaboration, another route surfaces. The real route by which Knightley's body was moved to the prison. There were two obstacles that needed to be dealt with. The security camera in front of Knightley's cell, and the electric fence in the courtyard. Both these problems could have been solved with a single stroke. By having Sawit switch off the breaker in the switch off the breakers in the breaker room. Mr. Edgeworth, could you wait one moment? Still intends to deny it, Warden Roland? I give in. I confess. Warden Roland. No, this cannot be. Yes, it's just as he says. Frank Sawin and I were partners in crime. No way! You did it, Mr. Edgeworth! Well done, Miles! At last we have the real culprit cornered. Like Mr. Edgeworth said, Frankie operated the breaker. But we were not responsible for Knightley's murder. What? Warden Roland, whatever do you mean? Judge Courtney, would the Goddess of Law hear my confession? The Goddess of Law is merciful. She will absolve you. I was being threatened. That's why I had no choice but to do as I was told. So who was threatening you? Sirhan Dogan, that assassin. Dogan? It's been going on since that man came to the prison. I will never forget that day. When we were both alone, he suddenly said to me, "Oh, I have many dogs outside the prison." Just dogs? Loyal dogs who obey my every command. I soon realized that what Dogan referred to were not really dogs, but his human henchmen. And that's not all he said. You'd better watch how you treat me, if you don't want you and your family to become dog food. I had no choice. I gave him the special cell. I gave him anything he desired. Anything he desired? You don't mean the supplier? That's right. Anything he ordered, I would deliver to him. An underground dealership. I was the one who won over Frankie. It was simple. I just offered him special privileges within the prison. And these underground dealings. Once a week, in the middle of the night, Frankie would shut off two of the breakers. So I could move from my office to the courtyard without being seen by the security camera. I would go past the fence and drop the goods down the well near the prison. And then I'd sprinkle this perfume over it. So that's the true identity of the sweet scent. The scent of perfume was a signal for Dogan's dog. Ah. After picking up the scent, it would carry the goods to Dogan. Of course, this had to be done while Elbert was away from his cell. Surprised he never found out about it, pal. We have a strict timetable here at the prison. Mealtime, exercise time. It's easy to know when he's away from his cell. And since little Rocky is afraid of Dogan's dog, I didn't have to worry about him making noise. So having full knowledge of the prison's inner workings, she made the deliveries herself. This would have ensured there were no slip-ups. Frankie would turn the breakers back on in the early morning, and the delivery was complete. I then modified the timestamp on the security camera. You have told us a great deal. Goddess of Law accepts your penitent confession. As the warden of the prison, how could I have done such a foolish thing? The day Knightley was killed was also the delivery day. It seems Frankie was working the breakers as usual. That day I had nothing to send, so I did not go to the courtyard at all. Secret of the supply system. So then Warden Roland was... We've read this before. Police have been searching for Dogan's henchmen for days. What was it? It's been helping them, but... been interrogating him personally in my office. Can't get a single word. Ouch. So the reason you kept on interrogating him... Yes, it was to find his henchmen. I borrowed all the evidence from the police and carried out the interrogation myself. Why are you freaking out about it? Kept an eye on all his actions and examined all of his mail. Mail? Like his correspondence chest letters. But I could never uncover the true identity of his henchmen. His fear is something you could never understand. Prosecutor Edgeworth, you were listening, right? I'd say this confession clears the warden of all suspicion. Is it really necessary to press her further than this? Is it necessary to press her further? I'm not sure. I'll say yes. Judge Courtney, my questioning isn't over yet. I'm sure the Goddess of Law isn't satisfied yet either. You mean to badger this woman further? Even if she was threatened by Dogen, this does not prove she was not the culprit in this case. She was able to use the supply route to transport Knightley's body. Do you have any evidence to support this? The body gave off a sweet scent. The scent of perfume that was used to signify a delivery. Can you explain this fact? Oh, of course! Since I have made so many deliveries, the scent would have lingered around the well. When the body was moved through the well, the scent would have transferred to it. Mr. Elbert also testified to this fact. That's it. For some reason, that well gave off a nice scent. Nice scent? I don't know what it was, but it smelled sweet. I can't. The lingering scent in the well would, of course, be picked up by anything passing through. The defense rests, I see. In that case, court is adjourned. Mr. Edgeworth, isn't there anything we can do? What should I do? Is this as far as I can go? Is it over already? Yes, Sebastian, it is. And now, court is officially adjourned. Who was that? It's not nice of you to adjourn things just like that, Courtney Pye. Mr. Shields. Are you objecting to the court adjourning? Hehehe, of course not. I ain't got no objection or anything like that. Go ahead and adjourn court. Do whatever you like. Hey, what are you doing, Mr. Shields? Whoa there, calm down, Kay. Who wants some chocolate? Is this a joke? Hehehe, you'll have to excuse me. I just have one tiny request to make. Simon Key's attorney. That's right, you're the defense attorney in charge of this case, aren't you? Exactly. Did you all forget? That's so mean. But you just left everything to Mr. Edgeworth and didn't do anything at all. Yes, that's right. That's why I thought I'd do my job a bit. Do your job? That hardly sounds like you at all. It's to prepare for the trial. I'd like to ask the warden a few questions. Surely you jest. What more would you expect to hear from her? Well, Miss Warden, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the culprit. My thoughts? My voice is all mixed up. Uncle Ray believes that Simon is not the culprit. It seems that Miss Warden also suspects someone other than Simon. I'd like to hear you out. Mr. Edgeworth, what's Mr. Shields up to? He's trying to lure Warden Roland into testifying. Why was the supply route used to transport the body? I'd say it was to pin the crime on Dogen. Ah, I see. If he committed a murder here, he would be transferred to another prison. One with tighter security. And that would get rid of the troublemaker. Exactly. She wouldn't pass up a chance like that. Hey, hold on a sec. The culprit besides Simon? What do you mean? Simon was the one I was supposed to prosecute. Exactly. So wouldn't it be better if the best also listened to what she has to say? Amazing, Mr. Shields. You managed to drag Mr. DeBest into this too. Warden Roland, is this acceptable? Oh, you. It's fine. It's fine. You understand a woman's heart. Thank you, mademoiselle. Actually, I've thought this over. I'd like to tell you my thoughts. You'll let me speak, won't you, Justine darling? Of course. You may speak. Mr. Shields, awesome! Phew, that was a close shave. Thank you, Mr. Shields. No, I'm still leaving the rest to you. Remember what I said? The defense attorney never gives up. The fate of our client rests on our shoulders after all. It'd be uncool if Uncle Ray didn't put that into practice. Now then, Miles, it's your turn to show you'll never give up. Right. Well then, will you listen to my story? I believe that the culprit in this case could only have been Dogen. I have no idea what transpired between Dogen and the victim. It simply could have been that Dogen was displeased with him. In any case, he was the one who stabbed the victim to death. He probably had a dog dispose of the body. This is the truth of the case. The victim, Mr. Knightley, was it? I think it is a truly terrible thing. Taking a man's life, you mean? That's how you'd go about saying it, isn't it? If only I had been more vigilant, his death would not have happened. That's why I want to clear up his regrets. Warden Roland, how considerate. I'm sure Mr. Knightley in heaven is overflowing with gratitude. Is gratitude really what Knightley feels? Okay. Only have been Dogen. This is a long case. You seem very confident of that. How can you be so sure? Children of this home are all good little boys and girls. Believe in yourself, believe in your friends, and believe in me and the guards. There's no way any of these hard-working children could have committed murder. Quite an emotional reason. Makes sense coming from someone like her. Only Dogen would be capable of something like that. Knightley was being held in the detention center, and Dogen was in the prison. They couldn't make any contact. Don't you think that would have prevented trouble? Prison is quite confined, right? There are many... Yeah, you should know that. There are many ways for them to meet. Knightley was murdered days before he would have been sentenced to prison. Surely there weren't many ways a meeting could have occurred. Even without a direct meeting, Dogen can still cause trouble. Mark my words. Could have been that he was displeased. What could Knightley have done in the detention center to displease him? That was just an example. You don't have to take it so seriously. Didn't I already say that I have no idea what transpired between them? Nevertheless, you certainly are a serious one, Edgeworth dear. What's this? That piercing gaze. Always standing straight and stiff. Very nice. Looking very clever, my dear. I think I'm about to become your biggest fan. No, that title belongs to Old Bag, I'm afraid. I'm very afraid of Old Bag. Mr. Edgeworth, stay focused. It's just a flesh wound. Hey, Maya used to say that. We're right. Is this some form of psychological warfare? He was the one who stabbed the victim to death. I'd like to hear your thoughts about the circumstances surrounding the murder. Well, I suppose it was a simple job. During his booking, I learned that the victim had some kind of injury to his neck. He couldn't turn his neck to the right. I remember him saying something like that. Booking. That's the process one undergoes before being locked up in the detention center. Sounds like you don't really know a lot about Knightley. I only know a little. In any case, he would have been an easy target for Dogen. Perhaps he used the chisel hidden in the chessboard? The victim wouldn't even have had a chance to scream. Could you, I see, your opinion will be a very valuable reference. Could you perhaps add it to your testimony? Yeah! Oh, you're making me blush. You're so cute. She's spelling that. I never understand if that's supposed to be them, like, stretching out the word, or if they're spelling it. I'm just kidding. I'll continue. Perhaps he used the chisel hidden in the chessboard. The chessboard? The thing that victim brought with him. Seemed like he really enjoyed playing chess. How could I have guessed that chisel would be hidden inside it? Chisel in the chessboard. That fact is only known by a select few people. This was the answer we arrived at from our reasoning, after all. So then, why does she know about this? In Dogen's hands, even a chisel is enough to be used as a lethal weapon. Simple job. You certainly seem to hold strong feelings towards Dogen. That's just natural. Remember my interrogations? That man, no matter how much evidence we find, he's still as slippery as a snake. He's got a lot of guts. That smug look he has on his face when he returns to his cell. Arg. Just thinking about it makes my stomach churn. I can sort of excuse me. I can sort of understand how you feel. We had the dog dispose of the body. Do you mean to say the dog threw the body into the well? Dogen has more than one dog, not just that black one, you know. Didn't I tell you? He has henchmen outside these walls as well. You mean his henchmen outside of the prison aided him in this crime? Of course not. They would have been caught by the security gates. Think about it. Wasn't he the supplier? It's not hard to think he had dogs within the prison, too. Oh? Well then, why don't you tell me the names of those so-called dogs? If I knew that, I wouldn't have gone through so much trouble. In any case, it's still a possibility. Please try to consider it. Just dodging the question. Can't I pursue this line of thought any further? Warden Roland's testimony is covered in lies. If I pick them apart one by one, her true colors will surely be revealed. Alright. Chisel hidden within the chessboard. We perhaps have a picture. Doesn't look like it, unfortunately. Huh. Oh, we never looked at this. This bell, it's the same as the one that's attached to Anubis's collar. Yes, it's the assassin Dogen's trademark. An assassin with a trademark. What an odd combination. Don't you think it's similar to the great thief Yatagarasu? Mr. Edgeworth, you don't understand anything. The great thief has to stand out. Why would a thief want to stand out? Okay. Dogen hid this chisel inside his dog's mouth. Could this be the murder weapon of this case? Can't say for certain. However, traces of blood were found on the chisel. At the very least, it's not unrelated to the case. Anything else? Nothing. Alright. Well, I was going to say, why would he use the one in the chessboard when he had 4 of them just sitting around in his cell? But it doesn't look like we have anything to show those chisels. Well, that's not going to give us anything. I guess we try the chessboard since how? Yeah, let's try it. I'll try it. Yay! Warden Roland, you certainly are sharp-witted. Hey, enough with the titles. Call me Patty. P-A-T-T-Y. However, there's something you were a little too knowledgeable about. Hoo-hoo. Embarrassed? You're such an inexperienced child, Edgeworth, dear. Gah! Fight on, Mr. Edgeworth. You said you didn't really know much about Knightley. If that's the case, how did you know about the chisel inside the chessboard? Oh, of course, the entrance check. Enough with the poor excuses. The entrance check? The chessboard wasn't something Knightley brought with him. It was brought to him later by Mr. Keyes. He didn't even have it when he arrived. That's my mistake. I meant the parcel check. Even if we assume that, there are still many suspicious points. Why wasn't such a chisel immediately confiscated? Yeah, that's what she said, not aye. Judge Courtney, did you tell anyone about the tricks to this chessboard? I did not. If no information about our investigation was leaked, then how did you find out? You cannot have examined this during the entrance check or parcel check. Certainly. Someone in the Warden's position would never have let a chisel slip by. Exactly. So answer this, Warden Roland. When and how did you learn about the chessboard's secret? In that case, I shall answer for you. It is because... I give up, Edgeworth dear. It is as you say. I interrogated Knightley. That's how I learned about the chessboard. But, please believe me, I didn't kill anyone. Oh boy. Enough. Enough. It would appear that we have uncovered some vital information. I'll ask you to testify once more, if that's all right with you, Prosecutor Edgeworth. No objections here. Thank you, Edgeworth dear. I'll do my best. Well then, Warden Roland, I trust there will be no lies from here on out. Her pool of lies is slowly running dry. Soon I will bring out her true nature.